Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our scenario is The Code. It was written by Chris Lackey, and it's part of a collection of scenarios entitled Mansions of Madness, Volume 1. It's available from the Drive-Thru RPG. Our game master is John Hook, and this is Episode 1. So without any further delays, let's begin our journey into the darkness. John?
I was muted. Greetings, players. So we're going to start this adventure. It begins a little bit differently, I think, than some. So the very first thing I want to do is I would like the players to introduce their characters. So if we can, I'd like to start with Tom. Please introduce your character.
All right. My name is Judge Rayna. Judge Rayna Mesman. Everybody calls me Rain. I am a court judge at the Cambridge Municipal Courthouse in Boston, in Massachusetts. I've known Kenneth Connelly since we were in Harvard University together.
Awesome. Let's start with then Phil next. Phil's next. Tell us about your character, please.
My name is Ethan Connelly. I was also a Harvard grad. I'm a veteran. Yes, I know that you're probably staring at my ear or lack thereof it. I was in the same 26th Infantry out of Boston with my friend, Dr. Connelly, and was injured. Actually took the shrapnel that was going to be his. So we are good friends and have been friends since the end of the war, although I don't see him often anymore. I currently work for a new startup called the Chrysler Car Company. I'm a mechanical engineer, and we're designing our first car, which of course I brought brochures for if you gentlemen would like to take a look.
Oh, that's excellent. Jesse, please tell us about your character.
I'm Reginald Lynch, professor of geology at Miskatonic University. I know Kenneth Connelly as a coworker, fellow professor. He was a mentor of mine as I first started my professorship. He showed me what I needed to do in order to get around Miskatonic, the who's who. And when he retired not too long ago, I was saddened to see him go, as he was a good friend of mine. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to keep in touch with him in the last 5 years.
All right. And Matt, please tell us about your character.
I will be playing Driscoll Baxton Wallace, but my friends call me Chip. I know Kenneth, Kenny I like to call him, from the Arkham Regatta Club. We like to go sailing up and down the river together, drinks, of course. Professionally, I work for my father's investment firm on Wall Street, and business is booming.
Awesome. It can go nowhere but up, right? Listeners, as you can tell, all of these investigators, they all have a connection. They're all friends with a Dr. Kenneth Connelly. So in addition to being friends with Kenneth Connelly, players, are any of your investigators friends with each other? Does anybody already know each other?
I think we kind of know each other.
Okay.
We've probably seen each other at parties and...
High society. If any of you rub elbows in high society, you would know Chip.
Yeah, we know Chip.
We know Chip. And of course, Judge Messman and Ethan Donnelly have both graduated from Harvard.
Right. We weren't particularly close at Harvard, but Ethan hung around Ken a lot, and so we knew each other. I don't think that we were really close or friends outside of Kenny's presence.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, he's cool. He's a nice guy.
All right. All of you have received a telegram. A telegram bidding you to come to upstate New York to Kenneth Connelly's ancestral home known as Wellington Manor. And he would like you guys to arrive on Friday, April 3rd for dinner time. Is this a trip that any of you take together? Or is anyone traveling together, or is anyone traveling alone?
I think that after receiving the telegram, would ring up Rain and just to find out if he would like to accompany me, since and let him know the situation.
Well,
and
yeah,
I would pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. It's like a 4.5-hour drive. So
not in my new Chrysler 6. We'll make very good time.
Well, yeah, I was
I would
counting
most
for
likely travel by
pretty
myself,
quick
most
trip.
likely by rail.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm thinking of New York City. We're going quite a ways north of there. So, yeah, we'll make it. Yeah, we'll go together.
I think Chip would probably take his own Rolls Royce up to the Hamptons.
Okay, this isn't the Hamptons, but yeah.
Right. Hampton, New York.
Correct. So if Judge Messman and Ethan aren't traveling together and Chip is traveling alone, then I guess that means that Reginald is also traveling alone.
Yes, I'd most likely be taking the rail to go over there.
Okay.
I'm very much a local boy with not much traveling in terms of going outside of Arkham too much, unless I have to, Boston and things of that nature. But yeah, I would most likely take the rail.
Okay. So you want to take a train up to Hampton and then somehow negotiate travel from Hampton to the private residence?
Yes, precisely.
Okay. Is it possible that anyone would have picked you up? Any of the either Chip or maybe the judge and Ethan? Would anybody pick you up?
I would pick him up, certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's bring the camera in as the judge and Ethan have just picked up Reginald from the train station in Hampton, New York.
Reginald, how was the train trip?
It was quite lovely, quite lovely. A nice, relaxing trip through the country. It was very peaceful.
Springtime, yeah. Everything's come up green.
Mm-hmm.
All the new leaves on the trees.
Beautiful, quite beautiful.
How's things going in Arkham?
Very well, actually. I'm very close to receiving my tenure over at Miskatonic. I'm working on a geological study of the surrounding area to see if I can present something to the board. How are things with you, of course?
My life is rather boring. I'm there at the municipal court listening to people argue and fight all day long.
And what have you eaten? How are you doing?
I think that this is going to be my big break. I think we're going to go places. What do you think as I gesture my hand to the spacious interior of the car?
You know, this is not the first time that Kenny has told us that he's made the greatest discovery of all time.
Yes. I've had a few visits with him before his retirement in regard to some of his things in the past. Quite interesting. I do love to hear the man wax lyrically about his theories and possibilities.
The manor house is new. I guess it's been in his family, but I've never been there.
Me neither. I did not know he had a property down over by in Hampton.
Must have inherited it.
A lot of work goes into renovating a large place like that. Maybe that's why we haven't heard from him.
Well, that's possible. You know that he's got his nose in his books and his chalkboard, and he's constantly scribbling, and I don't know that he'll ever come to anything. He's not, I heard at some point he was working with that fella. Oh, I don't know if Einstein was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, some German fellow, Albert Einstein.
Back in school, I actually tried to read one of his textbooks.
Hmm?
And I made it 3 pages into it.
Well, it's not exactly mechanical engineering.
It can be
physics.
It can be rather dense.
The laws of physics, and I deal in the laws of the United States.
Clearly.
So how far is the drive from here to Wellington Manor?
So you have a rough idea of its location being just outside Hampton, New York. But obviously, just outside is not a definitive address. So as you are exiting and kind of coming out of Hampton, New York proper, you're on State Highway 22A, and you do know that you should probably take County Road 18. But beyond that, you're not 100% sure. As you're kind of getting to the junction of 22A and 18, there on the side of the road, you see and it takes a pretty good parcel of land. There is a Saunders General Store. It's got some gas pumps out front. There is an attached mechanical garage. There is a very large diner slash grocery store, probably slash pharmacy. That's the main building right there. And so as you guys kind of pull into that parking lot, it's fortuitous timing because there's a Rolls Royce in the parking lot that some of you recognize.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh boy!
Say there, fellas.
Chip, how are you doing?
Well, I know you.
Hey, Chip.
What are you doing up here in these hinterlands?
What do you think we're doing? You got the same telegram we probably all got.
You did? You got a note from Kenny saying he solved the mysteries of the universe again.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings, Chip. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. I'm Reginald Lynch.
Driscoll Wallace, but please, my friends call me Chip.
Pleasure to meet you. That's quite the vehicle you have there.
Oh, yes. It's one of my father's. He has quite a fleet of cars.
Very impressive.
Chip, you haven't said anything about my new car. Which,
is it
of course,
new?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I was helped Mr. Chrysler build it. If you're interested, hand him a flyer, one of the brochures.
My, it's stunning. Look at the lines on this beauty.
And 6 cylinders.
And it's
really
not black.
How does it handle after a few martinis?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? I'm sure we could race all the way there.
I'm going to go talk to the attendant. Perhaps he knows where Wellington Estate is.
Good idea.
Oh, jolly good, Rain. Any idea where we're supposed to go?
Excuse me, sir. Could I ask you if you know the area, do you know where I might find the Wellington Estate, or how to get there?
So yeah, there's an older gentleman behind the counter, and he greets you as you kind of come up to the counter, and he's got all kinds of wares available. It's the 1920s equivalent of like the convenience store there in that portion, and he says, "Wellington Manor, you say?"
Yes.
Quite the party, it seems like. Yes, well, you'll just take a 18, head that way, and you'll go about 2.5, almost 3 miles, and there'll be a gravel road. It's unmarked on your right. You'll be sure, don't miss it. If you end up getting to the lake, you've gone too far, but take that gravel road and follow it along slowly, and it will take you right up to Wellington Manor.
Oh, thank you very much. We're filling up with gas outside, so we'll pay your attendant. Thank you very much for your assistance.
Oh, thank you. Have a good time.
He says we just go up 18. There'll be an unmarked gravel road on the right, and I don't know why I've suddenly got a posh accent.
Rubbing elbows with me, no doubt.
The Rolls Royce is rubbing off on you, Judge.
Every time I get near that Rolls.
Mm-hmm. And Chip, I must say that the extra adornments on your yacht cap are quite astonishing. Very bright.
Why, thank you.
Chip,
we had a smash-up regatta this year.
Chip's buying the gas.
Oh,
well,
good.
Ethan, let's see. We put these. What do we put these vehicles to the test?
I think we should.
First one to the manor last one to the manor buys the drinks. Let's hope Kenneth has got something in the cupboards.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't really approve of you breaking any laws. I am a court judge, you know.
But your jurisdiction certainly doesn't extend this far north.
Well, just close your eyes.
I would say it does seem. I would say it does seem
Justice is
dangerous.
blind.
Justice isn't blind if we get in trouble, and
well, that's what money is for.
I thought money was for enjoying life. Keep up with me if you can, Ethan.
I'll try.
And I'll jump in the car and roar off.
Not too reckless, please.
Okay, you can trust me.
So as you can see, it's not too far away to get from Saunders General Store to Wellington Manor.
All right. Simple enough.
Please take it easy before we get to the gravel road.
All right. So as you guys travel, you sure enough head down 18. There's the unmarked gravel road. You turn right and head up it, and only a few minutes after that, you see a fenced property with a very large and palatious manor standing before you.
Oh.
As you guys pull into the onto the grounds, you can see that the house stands alone. There's a circle drive in front of the house and what looks like a barn not too far away, and there are a few vehicles here. You can see there's a pickup truck and 3 other cars parked in the circle drive, and so you guys are able to just kind of pull your vehicles in and park next to either set of vehicles.
I say, it looks like we won't be the only ones here enjoying Kennedy's company.
Gentlemen, before we go in, maybe we should discuss the other part of the telegram, the message about not trusting the sister. Did you? I show my copy.
You display your letter?
Yes.
Okay.
March 14th, 1925. My dear friend, I hope this letter finds you well. I know we haven't spoken in quite some time, but my research has led me to some strange discoveries. I'm sending you this letter as a safety precaution. I'm not sure when or even if this letter will reach you, but I must ask a very bizarre favor of you. I need you to memorize this code. F as in Frank, 194-7L507L. Once you have memorized it, burn this letter. I cannot have this falling into the wrong hands. Mention it to no one that you know it. Excuse me about that part. I'm sorry for not explaining more, but the less you know, the better. Please do not forget this code. It could be a matter of life and death. Hopefully you'll never have to use it. P.S. Don't trust Elizabeth or her brother. And with that, I push in the convenient located lighter in the dash of my Chrysler 6.
Why, in God's name, would he trust you with that?
Is this about the missing ear again?
Yeah.
Well, because we were in the war, Ray, and while you were sitting with your feet up with law books, I was fighting for the country. That's why.
Well, I must say that I actually find it slightly uncomfortable that he's requested this information to stay secret.
Let's not mention it again. We don't want to get Ethan in trouble.
Yes.
I'm now putting it into the ashtray, and it is lit, and letting it burn and closing the ashtray.
Because I received nothing along those lines. I simply received a telegram talking about the greatest discovery, scientific discovery.
That's all I got.
Yes.
Let's head on inside.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
It's a nice place.
Has anyone met Elizabeth?
That's a good question. Have we?
Do we know who he's talking about?
No idea.
So we haven't met his sister and brother.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
You know that Kenneth has no siblings, and so you don't know who this Elizabeth and her brother that were noted in the PS in the postscript. You don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
It has been years since you have actually been in direct contact with Kenneth. There's been some correspondence every now and then, not a lot. Certainly no telephone calls, and clearly no in-person meetings for the last several years. It was 5 years ago when he resigned his position at the Miskatonic University to pursue his own private projects and private studies.
Oh, he resigned instead of retired, did he, that old dog?
Yes. His absence was greatly affected. We lost a good professor.
I wonder if he got married.
I not to toot my own horn, but I would hope he would invite me to such an occasion.
Oh.
We certainly missed him around the club.
Let's just pretend that whoever this Elizabeth is be charming and don't trust her.
Understood.
All right. So you guys approach the front door and knock. As you knock on the door, the door is opened, and before you is I would probably call him a young man. He's probably in his 40s, mid 40s. He seems to be quite the sturdy fellow. He looks fit, and he has a bald pate, and he's got a very nice suit on. And as he opens the door, he looks at you gentlemen and says, Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Judge Rainer Mesman, and these are my friends. We're here for dinner.
Reginald Lynch, where I was invited.
Driscoll
Yes.
Chip Wallace, my good man.
Ethan Donnelly.
Yes, gentlemen, you are all expected, and we receive you well. He stands aside, is holding the door open, and he has one arm out as if to take anything if you wish to rid yourselves of coats or hats or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you.
Is it a nice place on the inside?
It is beautiful. It is a fantastic mansion. You have just come through the front doors, and the gentleman introduces himself. He says, "My name is William. If you need anything, please ask. I'm happy to oblige." If anyone gives him a hat or a coat or something, he quickly ducks into, if you're looking at the map, he quickly ducks into the room labeled number 3, 1-3. And he deposits coats and hats there. He then steps out and looks at you, gentlemen, and says, "If you will follow me, please." And he begins heading down the hallway to the left towards room 4. As he gets to that door, he opens the door, pushes it inward, pushes it open, and gestures with his hand for you to enter the room. There's music coming from that room.
Okay.
I walk in.
Is
Yeah.
Kenneth here?
As you walk into this room, it is clearly a parlor. There's a fireplace. There is a phonograph. There is a small bar cart. And there are 3 people in here. One older gentleman and 2 younger women. Younger, they're mid-30s. And so they all have drinks in hand. And as you guys come in, William stands at the door until you guys all enter, and William once you're in, announces and says, "Judge Mesmer," did I say that right?
Yeah.
Mr. Donnelly, Mr. Lynch, and Mr. Wallace.
Good evening.
Dinner will be served soon. And then he steps out and shuts the door behind him and leaves and walks away.
Okay.
Greetings.
The older gentleman comes up to you guys. As soon as I move my mouse. The older gentleman comes up to y'all and introduces himself. And he says, "Greetings, gentlemen. Good evening. Quinn, Seamus Quinn, at your service."
Reginald Lynch, same
Mr.
to you. Greetings.
Judge Raina, but you can call me Rain.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. He's also got a pipe. It's almost like looking in a mirror between Judge Messman and Dr. Quinn.
Just call me Chip.
Indeed.
Mr. Quinn, what leads? How do you are acquainted to Miss Kenneth Connelly, to Dr. Connelly?
Yes, physics, don't you know? Physics. I teach at Harvard, and Dr. Connelly and I have been longtime colleagues. We have collaborated on many physics papers in the past.
Oh,
Excellent. I'm a professor of geology myself. I worked with Dr. Connelly at Miskatonic University. He just before his retirement.
Very good, very nice. So great to meet your acquaintance. If please allow me to introduce our companions here. and he points at one woman. She's got dark hair, wavy hair, almost kind of like in a flapper kind of style. And he says, "This is Miss Whitley, Miss Claire Whitley."
Miss Whitley, pleasure.
Very nice. Charmed, sir. Charmed, ma'am.
Oh, very nice to make your acquaintance. Very pleased.
Yes, a pleasure. A pleasure to meet you.
What was the older gentleman's name again?
Seamus Quinn. Dr. Seamus Quinn. And then, so he introduces Claire Whitley, and then the other young woman, she's got sandy, dark, or light sandy hair, glasses, and he says, "This is Miss Carlson, Diana Carlson."
A pleasure. A pleasure.
And she shakes hands and says, "Thank you. It's my pleasure as well." And so Miss Carlson looks at you gentlemen and says, "Well, please, how do you know Kenneth?"
We were just going to ask you the same thing. Kenneth and I know each other. Kenny, I like to call him, from the Regatta Club in Arkham.
Oh, that sounds very exciting.
Just old friends.
How do you know him?
Diana looks and says, "Oh, well, I teach. I'm a school teacher. I just teach high school, but in Chicago, I teach high school science in Chicago. But Kenneth and I met while he was living in Chicago, and got to talking about physics, and it's just, he's been a very fascinating individual, and I've really learned a lot, and we just, became good friends." And then the woman standing next to Diana, Claire, she's nodding her head, and she says, "Yes, I know Kenneth from Chicago as well. I'm a reporter, and I cover mostly fashion and the society papers, but I've been trying to break out into other aspects of news, and well, Kenneth has been assisting me to try and get some real, cutting science. People, our readership is very much into science, and so he's been able to help my career. It's been very fantastic and very helpful."
Have you all arrived just today?
Yes, we've only just arrived.
And have you discovered a liquor cabinet?
Right this way. And Claire takes your hand, Chip, and says, "Follow me." And so she takes you right over to, it's standing right next to the phonograph, and she starts mixing you a pretty martini.
Wonderful.
Have any of you had the privilege of knowing what Kenneth requests our attention here for?
And Dr. Seamus kind of puffs out, he's been drawing on his pipe, and he puffs out and he goes, "Oh, not a clue. It's quite the surprise. Bit of a flair for the dramatics, I think."
Yes, indeed. He likes a big entrance, and he likes a big surprise.
I was grateful for the invitation because I haven't heard from him for some time. After he retired, he kind of disappeared off the face of the earth.
Ethan,
Yes.
one of the things, most men who came out of the war, very few men came back unscarred.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself are a fine example of that. And that Kenneth is also an example of that. He suffered some kind of injury to his to his left leg, to his knee, and the resulting of which is he's had to have, after several surgeries, Kenneth wears like an orthopedic shoe on his left foot to kind of, give him balance, re-straighten it out, because there was some tissue loss and whatnot. And you distinctly, because of this orthopedic shoe, Kenneth has a very noticeable gait and sound that goes with that gait. And you hear that gait. You hear the clip clop, if you will, of Kenneth's orthopedic shoe approaching the door outside.
It immediately, of course, would take me back to that moment, the 20th of April, at the front when he took that wound. I was there in the trenches with him when a shell had exploded. I'm also very conscious of the ladies. Are they staring at my injury, as probably most people do?
Give me a sand roll.
Nope.
Yeah.
Missed it by a yard.
Yeah. Every time you lose nothing, but every time your eyes move around the room, you're quite aware, at least from your perspective, you're quite aware that as your vision comes to a person, their vision darts away, and clearly they were staring at your ear, or the ruin of what is your ear.
My shaking hand, trying to make sure that nobody sees that, as I draw out a Chesterfield non-filtered cigarette and light it with my Zippo.
Okay.
Would you mind if I have one of those?
Of course.
Thank you.
Wow. Light it.
Anyone else?
Of course, I have our American Expeditionary Force logo on the outside of the lighter engraved in it as I light it.
Nice. The door has not opened.
Well, we didn't notice, so
I would open the door, I would think, if I hear nothing.
Okay. So yeah, Ethan, you cross over to the room. You cross over to the door to this parlor, open it up, and there's no one in the hall.
Connelly, where are you? It's Ethan.
well, I'm sure he'll join us once he's ready.
I swear to God, I heard him just down the hall, 5 feet away.
Ethan, here, have a drink. Settle your nerves a little bit.
I crawled into a bottle after the war. I don't touch this stuff anymore, Chip. I don't want to crawl back in.
I'll take some of that.
I'll have a Manhattan.
Absolutely. I'll join you.
All right. So drinks are going around, and 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass. You guys are all kind of starting to, the small talk is dying down. People are shuffling their feet, wondering, where's your host? Where is Kenneth?
Where's the young man that let us in? What was his name?
William?
Seamus.
Yes.
Or was it Seamus?
Yeah, William.
William.
Yeah,
William.
Seamus, Dr.
Yeah,
Seamus Quinn is in the room with you. And so as you're wondering about the whereabouts of William, suddenly you guys hear some quick feet outside coming up to the door quite quickly. And the door to the parlor bursts open. William steps in and he says, ladies and gentlemen, I have news. Our host, our your friend, Dr. Connelly is is gone. He's missing.
Don't be preposterous. I just heard his gate. I would know his gate from 1,000 miles away.
I
Is this
assure you, sir.
Is some sort of parlor trick?
Are you saying that I'm perhaps mistaken, William?
Gentlemen, it's all part
Because
of the
I don't
show.
have an ear, perhaps?
That was not my intention, sir. Please, you have my apologies.
He's in his face now, of course, just like...
What do you mean that he's missing?
And will this delay dinner?
And then Claire comes up and kind of puts her arm on William and says, "Well, perhaps I think what Mr. Donnelly is asking, William, is where was the last place that you saw him?" And you can see that William was getting a little bit, like, you could kind of see just kind of under the covers, there was a little bit of boiling water kind of starting to grow, as Ethan was starting to confront with William. But Miss Whitley kind of stepped in and kind of tried to cool that down. And so William kind of, clears himself, and he looks at Whitley and says, "Madam, the library. Last I saw and knew of Dr. Connelly's whereabouts in the home was in the library."
Ethan, perhaps that's where you heard him shuffling about between his books. Let's go to the library.
I think this is going to be another one of those treasure hunts.
William kind of looks at the entire crowd and nods and says, "Yes, of course. If you will follow me to the library." And so he begins leading this procession line. And so as you exit out of the parlor, you make a right as if you're going back towards the front door. But just past the front door, right next to the coat closet where he deposited coats and hats, there's a very large room with double doors. And so as William gets to those doors, he kind of grabs the handles and pulls them open, and you see this very grand and very large room called a library by William, but it seems like unlike any library any of you have ever seen before. Yes, there are bookshelves throughout this room, but there are also tables throughout this room covered with all kinds of small gadgets and all kinds of scattered paperwork everywhere. And then in the center of this room is a strange looking mannequin type of device, right? It looks like a tripod of some sort with a strange contraption on it, displayed on it. And as you look at this contraption, it looks like it's primarily a very large brass and leather and tubings and Edison lights screwed onto this thing, and it looks like it's a backpack of some sort with all kinds of brass cylinders on it. And this backpack has a buckling system, like a 4-point harness that would snap together in the center of your chest in order to hold this rather substantial backpack. And then there's tubes and wires that come out from that, and they flow out to a pair of gloves that are kind of affixed on this mannequin, so the arms are kind of out. And then there's more tubes and wires that go down, and there's like this shin guard and thigh guard kind of plating, and the wires and more Edison lights are kind of screwed into those pieces. And then there's also tubes and wires that come up out of the top, and it attaches to some kind of helmet device with a chin strap. And big several Edison lights and things are on that, and the headpiece is trimmed out in brass. And what's interesting about all this too is that from the backpack, which truly is like the heart of this device, it almost looks like there's a secondary set, but it looks like it's truly a secondary, almost like passenger system of a second hat and a second pair of gloves and a second pair of like thigh and shin guards, but they're not as ornate as the primary set. Everyone give me a spot hidden as you're looking at this very strange technological wonder.
Ooh, 99.
You don't even see the device in the room.
I got a 19 out of 40, which is a hard.
I also rolled a hard success, which surprises Chip.
I also did.
I say, what manner of device is this?
Like something from a Jules Verne novel.
Yes. So those of you who had the hard success or better, on the left gauntlet, because these things, it doesn't look just like a leather gauntlet, up to your elbow kind of gauntlet. It's built up. All of the pieces are built up. There's all kinds of things that are attached to it. But on the left gauntlet, it does look like there's almost by design, it looks like there's a void. It looks like there's a chunk that's missing. It's probably, it'd be on the left forearm, and it looks like it's about 2 inches wide, and it's about 5 inches long, and the void is about an inch in depth. So there's this void, as if something is missing in that piece that needs to go there. And those of you who had the successful spot hidden, you notice that there's a void.
I have never seen a contraption such as this.
Well, don't touch anything.
And you can see Dr. Seamus is a kid in a candy store. And he's like, my word, what is this? And he begins to circle around it like a shark. And he starts looking at the tables that are nearby. And he's like, what is Kenneth working on? William, what do you know of this? I apologize, sir. I have no idea what is going on here.
Yes, Dr. Quinn, you're probably the only person who would have a clue as to what's going on here. Except maybe Ethan, he's a mechanical engineer.
Well, I look around for any instructions.
Okay, give me a spot hidden.
Yeah, blueprints is something.
Yeah, that is a pass, 63. Or actually, I'm going to have to burn 3 luck to make that work.
Great.
So I'm looking through his papers, for any descriptive information. Also, I wanted to ask if, did you say that it comes with boots?
Yeah, it's not boots per se, but it's like strap-on shin guards, strap-on thigh guards. So you would wear your own footwear, but you've got the shin guards, the thigh guards, the gauntlets, the helmet, and all that is through tubing and wires and whatnot connected to that very substantial backpack that connects and clicks on a harness on your chest. And there's a bunch of devices, buttons and Edison bulbs and things like that on this too.
Now, you said that it looks like something that you would put on yourself?
It certainly does.
Okay.
It looks
like a suit. It doesn't look like a mannequin.
Right. The mannequin is displaying the suit.
So it's just on the mannequin. Okay,
it's just on the mannequin.
Well, there's a smaller passenger one or something?
Yeah.
So there's 2 suits.
It's like 2 suits, but with one backpack.
Like you would put on the one suit, and then you'd put the bigger suit on the
the
top of it.
primary driver would wear the primary stuff and would have the backpack clicked to their chest, and then the passenger would be standing, close enough that you basically hugging the guy, but you're standing, close enough to have your arm around him, but you would have helmet, gloves, and shin guards with no backpack. You're attached to the primary backpack.
So like two people like this, yeah.
Yeah, or they could even stand side by side.
Okay.
It's got enough play, for you to have a little bit of room.
I noticed, fellows, that there's something missing from the left forearm. There's a space there.
Well, perhaps he can explain to us when we find him, and I'll yell out his nickname, only this time with a military yell, and I'll yell out Big Brain, because that's what we called him back in the unit. And I'll say, the Huns are on the run. Where are you?
No response. Also, Ethan, you had been looking around on the tables, and you did find a small stack of notes, okay? And so as you kind of go through those notes, I'll just read them real quick because there are not that many here, and it's not an official handout. But it says, you find a set of notes that say, the modifications have enabled an oscillating frequency to compensate for temporal shift. There's another note that says, the gravity dampener maintains the core polarity 99.993%. And another note, temporal plasma conduit running hot. Need to recalibrate the matter stream. And the final note that you found says, time matter field capacitors are reducing the quantum degradation to almost 0.03%, with many exclamation points after that.
Gentlemen, our friend might be injured somewhere in the house. He could have fallen, or he could have had a heart attack. We need to search the house quickly.
When I heard or thought I heard his limping gait, how far did I approximate that noise to be, knowing that my listen roll is half? I have a very poor listen roll.
Right. No, he sounded at that time like your brain, kind of fills in gaps. And when your brain was hearing that sound, your brain was telling you, look at the door, Kenneth's about to open it up. Your brain was telling you that doorknob is about to turn, and yet it never did.
Well, I think my paranoia about the other part of the message, about not trusting Elizabeth, who we have yet to meet, I'm beginning to look very concerned. And I look at, is William still in the room?
William is still in the room.
I turn around and say, William, are you a veteran? Were you in the war? You look like a man of your age should have been in the service.
Oh, here we go.
I'm going to go search the house.
I'll go with Judge.
Okay.
No, I'll stay here. This could be entertaining.
It's just a simple question.
William looks at you and says, no, I did not serve.
Okay, well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is that we have a brotherhood and a camaraderie. And we play jokes like this on each other from time to time out in the field. But in all of my memory of Dr. Donnelly, he was never one for these sorts of jokes. So if something has happened to my very good friend and brother, William, and you have anything to do with it, I would be very, very disappointed. So tell me, is this a joke? Where is he? And my patience is at an end.
And don't say anything about his ear.
And William kind of looks at his feet, and you can see, his teeth, his lips are moving, his teeth, and he's like, sir, and Claire again steps in between you guys and says, William, dear, why don't you finish and prepare dinner? The judge has the right idea. we should search the house. He can't be far. Let's just look through the house. It'll be fun. Let's look through the house and find him. Please run along, William. Run along. And so he kind of side eyes Claire, and then just looks at Ethan. Ethan, you can give me a psychology roll.
By the way, William, one other thing. I was runner-up in the all-pugilist competition in the Army in 1917. And that is a 14.
Okay. Ethan, you have seen, as in your time in the Army, in the war, you have seen, especially when tensions were running high and men started turning on each other for no reason. Mm-hmm. You know, just they're scared and they just started getting angry. And you've seen the kind of look that William has on his face right now. You've seen that before in men back in the service, right before they chose to just lose it and start a brawl with someone. Okay. But Claire has kind of stepped in, and she's kind of, patted him on the arm, and she's turned him around and said, please just go ahead and get dinner ready, and we're gonna find Kenneth, and then we'll all be able to laugh at this over dinner. So please go ahead. And so as William, glared at you, side-eyed Claire, he turns and he says, "Yes, ma'am." And he turns and he exits the library. And Claire turns around and she goes, Okay. Judge, I like your idea. And so she slides up and holds Judge's arm.
Oh, I didn't wait for any of this. I left.
Oh, you already left. All right. The
Yeah.
judge left. And
Hey,
Reginald has left because you were going with the judge. Okay. So you guys have left. So then Claire is like, she's kind of clapping. She says, all right, well, let's go looking for Kenneth. So since y'all have already started to split off, let's move the camera and join Judge and Reginald. So as you leave the library, the main floor is quite spacious. There's a very grand staircase that goes up. But there's also some other areas of the first floor that you haven't had an opportunity to look at. Do you have any place in mind that you want to go?
Yeah.
You do know from when you were outside looking at the building that it is a 3-story home, and probably with maybe
An
attic space
well,
above,
yeah.
but there's truly 3 grand full levels.
I tend to be a right-hand person, so I go to the next door on my right, which would be number 13, and I'm going to work my way around 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, that direction. Okay. And I'm not going to search the rooms. I'm going to open the door, look inside. If he's not there, I go to the next room.
Yeah, if any place we look is like there's doors across from each other, I'll probably be across from you, but I'm not separating from him.
Yeah, I don't think that he's hiding under the bed or or hiding behind a picture frame.
Right. So as you exit, as Reginald, as you and the judge exit the library, you kind of hook around to the right, staying on this first floor. That first door that you open up, even before you open the door, there's some pleasant aromas coming from there. As you open up the door, it's the kitchen. And you can see that William clearly has his hands full, as there's quite a bit going on in the kitchen here.
Yeah, just making sure he's not lying on the floor or something.
Right? Okay. And so then as you kind of, bop around and start checking out
11.
other rooms, you can see that, again, just kind of opening the door, you see room 11 has, it's an eating room, but it's got a small table, it's a small footprint. And as you go to room 10, it's a much more grand dining room.
Oh, okay.
Very long table, fantastic furniture, windows and a patio, French doors that go out to the rear patio. Okay. So, but it's taking you guys a little bit of time, by the time you're opening up the dining room doors, you can hear Claire clapping in the doorway, in the threshold of the library, because she's just basically exited William, and she's returned her attention to Ethan and Chip and the others in the library, and says, well, "Yes, let's start searching the house." So Chip and Ethan, what are y'all's reactions to that?
Can I make a spot hidden roll to see if William is armed?
You may.
It's not for the kitchen.
That is a 44 out of 60.
Okay.
Looking for a bulge in the back of his, pants where his belt meets.
I'll say this: a standard success is not good enough.
Spend luck.
Well, since the judge has gone to the right, let's go to the left. What do you say, Chip? Or will your Manhattan make it that far? Or do you need another one? Perhaps you should just stay here. What was that?
I said I'm interested in talking with Claire. Claire, you're a school teacher, is that right?
Diana answers your question, says, yes, I am a school teacher. Claire, who pushed William out the door, she's that reporter.
Oh, a reporter. She certainly has the skills of someone who deals with children. Ethan, certainly. Let's go to the left and toss the house.
So you guys are exiting the library?
Sure.
I wanted to make a mechanical or an electrical engineering roll. Is this a battery pack that's on the back that runs the Edison bulbs, like a DC current? Is it something that I'm familiar with? I mean, obviously the Edison bulbs. I'm trying to get an understanding of what this is.
Yeah, give me an electrical repair roll.
Okay, that is going to be 70 and 79. I'll burn 9 luck.
All right.
It was difficult.
It was difficult, and the reason it was so difficult is Kenneth seems to have been wiring batteries together, kind of getting concurrent batteries to carry a larger charge, but he's doing them in a very unusual way, a manner in which you've never seen before. And conventional electrical engineering would tell you that this is madness, that no one would connect an electrical setup like this. You would run the risk of batteries just simply draining and uncontrollable surges and things like that. But there's also other electronical and mechanical pieces that have been added to this that their purposes astound you and confuse you at this time. Maybe if you had more time to study the suit or study the notes, you might be able to get something out of that.
But there's nothing in my search that indicates an object that's 2 inches long by 5 inches deep. Nothing that's in the knickknacks that are surrounding me would fit into that hole.
Correct. Nothing would do that.
Okay, moving on. But staying behind William, I'm not going to have him behind me.
William
sake,
went to the
Ethan,
kitchen.
What is the issue with William? He's just the help.
That's what you would think, Chip. I understand that. But I've seen this before. Something's going on here.
You've seen William before?
I trust him about as much as I trust a Hun.
So Ethan and Chip, you guys are staying on the ground floor and going in a different...
The judge went to the right. We're going to the left.
Yep. So essentially, left means you're just going to go straight ahead, past the parlor, and kind of start checking out around that area. But you're staying on the ground floor. And Claire joins you. Dr. Seamus, Dr. Seamus and Ms. Carlson, the teacher, they mentioned that because Seamus now has got an armload of notes from the table. He's got an armload of notes in his hands.
Seamus, you are a Harvard grad, or did you just do your doctorate at Harvard? Perhaps you can familiarize myself with the fight song for Harvard.
And he recites it perfectly.
I'm satisfied.
He says, I plan to study these. Please find Kenneth, and this.
Why don't you wait until you have
his
his permission to do so? How about that?
This is cutting edge physics, and it's something that I cannot turn away from.
No. You will turn away from his private papers, and you'll put them on the desk. Intimidate as I get into his face.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, 18.
All right, yeah. So he puts the papers down in a huff, and then he says, "Well,
yes. Well, let's move on, shall we?" And I'll grab the papers.
Give him a sympathetic shrug.
Come along.
And I point to the missing ear.
I said, "Come along, Miss Carlson," and he says, "Why don't we look for Kenneth upstairs?" And they exit the library empty-handed.
Oh, Dr. Seamus, one last thing. Could you tell me the name of one paper that you worked on?
I'm sure it's nothing that you would understand.
No. I'm sorry. Did I also?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I not speaking loud enough? Here, turn to the correct ear.
No, that would get a punch for sure. That would get a brawl.
All right, go ahead.
13.
Okay.
Slam, and I have a damage bonus on top of that, a D4.
Okay, go ahead. What's your damage?
But no wonder we don't let you into the club, Ethan.
I mean, I think the true error here was making fun of a wounded veteran. 4. Probably broke his jaw.
You broke his nose. So you splash his nose, and blood goes everywhere.
Where were you when I was deep in blood in the trenches, Doctor?
And as soon as you punch him, he doesn't answer you. Miss Carlson comes up, and she starts ineffectively slapping at you to get you away from him. Get away!
What in the hell is going on over here?
Ethan, my good man, that's
Ethan, what the hell?
Something of a gentleman.
Judge, Reginald, you guys see the scuffling occurring near the stairs.
Oh, there wasn't much of a scuffle.
Ethan, pull yourself together. You're in the Jones house.
I say this is rather uncouth.
Judge, perhaps you can familiarize me with the law. What does the law say about taking somebody's personal letters and patents, perhaps?
The law, I didn't see anything
study.
other than you striking this man who's a guest in this house.
Ethan,
actually, Judge, I thought you were further down the hall.
Ethan,
I didn't think you'd come in this quickly.
I'm literally just across the room.
Yeah.
He made fun of my ear.
Oh, he made fun of your ear. We've all made fun of your ear. Get over it.
You are my friend.
Yeah, and just go sit over there. Go sit over there and cool
Dr.
off.
Quinn,
I will not be a chastised child. This man was trying
I
to
must
steal his
apologize for
private
that
documents.
brutish.
That is an order
Behavior.
from a judge. That is an order from a judge. If
This
you
is not
don't
your
do it, I will hold you.
jurisdiction,
I will hold
Judge.
you in contempt of court. Do
Out of
it.
respect for you, but I hand you the papers. I hand the judge the papers that the doctor had tried to take with him.
Yes,
Do
Ethan,
you-
good idea. Let's not give these to the one person who might understand them.
Do
Let's
you
instead
realize-
break
And publish
his
them
nose.
later for profit, Chip.
Do you realize that our friend might be dying somewhere in this house?
And he
None
might
of
be
you
in
seem-
the bathroom.
None of you seem to care. You're fighting over papers.
Yes,
I take
he
the
could be
papers
dying,
and
and
I
these
put them
people
on the
could
table.
have something to
I'll-
do with it, Judge.
I'll lean over and try to help Quinn up to get
Yeah.
him
So
up.
you
There's-
and Diana are helping Quinn stand up, and Diana has like pulled a kerchief out and holding it to his nose, and she starts leading Quinn, Dr. Quinn, to the parlor to sit
Oh, excuse
down.
me, ladies. Who is Elizabeth?
Are
And
you just going to spend all night grilling everyone in this house?
If that's what
Ethan.
it takes to find my friend, you're
How about
damn right I
looking?
will.
How about
Ethan,
looking for
let's
your
go
friend?
look.
Who is Elizabeth?
and the women are
And
like,
where is she?
the women are just standing there going, "What are you talking about?"
Well,
Diana
who
says,
is Elizabeth?
Diana, has anger in her face as she's holding a kerchief to Dr. Quinn's nose, and she goes, "You're a lunatic. I have no idea what you're talking about."
I will
Can make a
walk.
psychology roll?
Hold on. Oh, okay, good.
Can I make a psych roll?
For Diana.
Her,
Yeah, go ahead.
For that being a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is a 98.
Seems truthful to you, and she storms off with Dr. Quinn as they walk to the parlor so that he can relax and get his bleeding nose under control.
I feel terrible.
Not as bad
And I was
as Quinn
just in the
feels.
same room.
You
I
have
step-
absolutely no reason to distrust anyone in this house until you find some evidence.
I will say,
You're
Mr.
attacking everyone.
Mr. Donnelly, I find your behavior quite brutish, and I hope to see some more decorum from you going forward. We are here in a friend's house to hopefully find him and solve his situation.
Have we?
I understand the pressures of the situation, but we need to take it slow.
Have we covered all of the rooms on this floor?
No, there's still some other smaller rooms
6,
towards
7,
the
and 5.
towards the west side of the house. Yeah.
Please,
Um,
Mr. Donnelly, help us look through the rooms.
What do you think I've been doing? Where are you? And I yell out
You've
his
been
name
beating
again.
up the guests.
I'll beat up
Um,
any man who makes fun of the injury that I took for this country, Chip.
He should be the one called Chip.
And as Ethan, as you're having this scuffling and everything, you notice Claire is kind of staring at you, and she's big-eyed, and she has this smile on her face, and she kind of steps up to you, and she goes, "I have never seen anyone be so bold before."
Does it excite you, miss?
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Let's go look together. Let's work as a team.
And she slips her arm around yours.
Yeah, and we'll go to the right or as further from the rest of the players as possible.
She says, she starts pulling you towards the stairs then.
Let's go.
All right. So Claire and Ethan are heading for the stairs. Do you guys want to finish on the ground floor?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
All right.
5, 6, and 7. Jesus Christ, did he drink before he got here? I thought it was off
Unfortunately,
the wagon.
no. It
He's the
probably
one
would
who
have helped.
He's the one who drove us up
Is
here. I would
he,
hope
is he
wasn't
on
drinking.
opium or morphine? Or,
No, he's just on Ethan.
maybe he should go. He should go back. You should definitely go back on the drinking.
Aye.
All right.
Here's the thing. A judge of a court is the one who saw, and I have to report that if it ever comes up. If he wants to press charges, Ethan's screwed.
Judge, let's just look for Kenny.
Yeah, definitely.
Find him. Got 3 rooms. That's
I mean,
5
everyone
minutes.
is overreacting here. Kenny could just be upstairs.
He could be. We don't care. If he's upstairs, there's no problem. But if he's dying upstairs...
Why do we
were
all of a sudden think he's dying?
Because
Let's just
he's
look
not-
through the house.
Because he's not showing up.
Let's just look for the man, and we'll see what happens next.
Judge, do you keep people of the company you keep, if they don't arrive for an appointment, you think they're dying? My friends are usually late.
Wallace.
My only concern, Chip, is that it is his domicile, so I would expect him to be here.
Wallace, do you recall when William came in and told us he was missing?
Oh, I do now.
Perhaps
All
we
right.
should take your Manhattans away from you.
Here, let's check these 3 rooms.
Okay. So you guys head down and start checking out, start going into that area. Who wants to open the door to room 5? I'm assuming that's the first one you want, or do you want to check 6? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think we're coming from that other direction. So 6.
Yeah, you're walking in front of room 4, so technically the door to room 6 really is first for you, and then it'd be 5. Then you kind of go around the corner. One room is unlabeled. I don't know why it's not labeled. So we'll
Looks
just
like
assume
a closet.
we'll assume it's
Or a
closet.
toilet.
Yeah. Oh, hey, let's assume it's that.
All right. All right.
Chip,
Well,
check the water closet. See if he's
Right
preoccupied.
after you.
So who's check? Are y'all checking the rooms
together.
all as a group, or are you spreading out and 3 men are doing
just
3 doors?
opening the door.
We're just opening the doors. I don't think any of us are going in until one of us discovers something.
Who's
I'm
opening
not going to
6?
touch anything.
So my assumption is it's 3 people, 3 doors. Who's
Exactly.
opening 6?
I'll take 6.
All right. Who's opening the water closet?
I guess I'll do it.
Okay. Chip, are you opening 5?
No, Chip is watching other people work. It's what he does.
Okay. So Chip is just kind of hanging back and not really doing anything, right? All right. Yeah. So, Judge, you open up door 6, and you can see that it's a very small. It looks like it might be like a servant's quarters, but it's very neat and tidy.
Okay.
Reginald, you walk down the hall to the door on the end, not door 5, but the one that's unlabeled.
Mhm.
And sure enough, it's a water closet. And then Chip, you're just kind of sipping on a drink, probably near door 4. You know, the parlor. That's where Dr. Quinn and Diana went in, and you can hear Dr. Quinn moaning and complaining about that ruffian Ethan. So, Reginald, give me a spot hidden, please.
Hidden. Awesome. 17. Regular success. Oh, wait, no. Hard success.
So, Reginald, as you opened up the door to the water closet, and you were like, "Yep, it's a water closet," you're closing the door and you're pivoting back to check on your buddies and maybe address and see what they're, what have they discovered yet. And if you do you need to see the map again? But there's like a short hallway that ran northward from where you're at.
Right.
Okay. And it kind of opened up into a space over there.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go see what that was.
Actually,
wait.
so let me.
He's standing right next to 5, so why doesn't he open
You
it?
are standing right next to 5, but what I'm saying is you let's see.
There we go.
Yeah. You opened up the water closet and looking in, and just your eyes glanced
Towards 1-8.
towards 8, area 8. But as your eyes glanced towards area 8, you saw movement as somebody stepped out of the way and hid themselves back on what would be like the north side of room 6,
Right.
kind of out of the way.
Right.
But what struck you odd?
Mm-hmm.
What struck you odd is this person that kind of stepped out of the way had a incredibly strange profile to them. The leg that you saw, the back was tipped forward and it looked segmented, and the leg that you saw just before it disappeared, it looked like it had 2 sets of knees, so one and then another set that made it bend the other way. So the rear leg had like that Z shape. Had a Z shape to it.
My first instinct is to just not shout, but just say loudly. I was like, I say, "Who's there?" And I go move in that direction.
Okay. So you go up that short hallway northward just to kind of get past rooms 7 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And as you do that, there's no one there. There's no one standing in that zone where you just saw. I mean, you just saw him there like a second ago.
Yeah.
And you got over there, nothing, nobody.
I'll walk back over to where Rain and Chip are, and I was like, I just saw. I thought I saw somebody in the hall.
Kenneth, you thought you saw Kenny?
No,
Must have.
I caught a glimpse of a leg, but it seemed like something out of a wolf or something along, an extra limb or.
You think you saw a wolf leg?
Not furry. I can't really describe it. I swear, it looked like a segmented bent leg.
I'm going to open up door number 5.
Okay. Chip, you're just kind of standing in the hallway.
I look where he's pointing, but I see stairs. I don't see anything.
I kind of just holding my head. I'm like, I only had one of your drinks, Chip.
Reginald.
That's the problem.
Exactly. Reginald and Chip, they're having that conversation, and Judge, you open up door 5, and you find it's another set of like servant quarters. There's a gentleman in here. He's on the other side of the room. He's standing into the window, and his back is towards you.
Excuse me.
And you say, "Excuse me, you're standing in the doorway, right? You're standing in the threshold,
right?"
You say, "Excuse me," and this guy, like, spins, does this about face, and I mean, he moved fast, and he's kind of hunched over, and well, give me a spot hidden.
Let's see, 30 out of 40.
Yeah, in the blink of him spinning around, and kind of startled you a little bit, you are able to get some facial recognition because this guy looks shabby. He's got really short, shaggy hair. He's got several days of growth on his face. And he's got these wild eyes. He spun around. His clothing is looking a little bit disheveled, and he's holding an axe. And he spun around when you said, "Excuse me," and he just looks dead at you, and you recognize him. It's William. He looks dead at you, and he says, "You're never going to take me alive!" And he charges at you, axe raised.
I back away quickly, so I'm actually heading towards 8,
right?
Which is actually where Lynch was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. Do you just leave the door open?
I probably just back up quickly. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
All right. What is your dex?
My dex is 50.
All right. Let me double check something. Okay. Yeah. So, are you running backwards or do you turn and run?
I am literally moving backwards, not so much as a run. I think that when he comes at me, I'm just going to fall backwards onto the ground.
Okay. Yeah, he comes charging at you, axe raised high, and he's going to try. He's going to try and bring it down on you.
Okay. Does Reginald and
of course we're going to try to help.
They don't know what's going on yet.
Okay.
I'm going to try to dodge, I suppose, but
Yeah, give me a dodge.
got a 17.
Okay. I mean, that sounds like it's a success.
Actually, that's as much dodge as I have. I have
This close.
All right. So
he shaves my beard off.
A standard success dodge will be a standard success attack. So yeah, you fall back
as he swings the axe.
You're scrambling. You fall on your ass, and you start kind of backpedaling. And this axe head, this fire axe head, it buries itself into the wood floor right between your legs, like it could have been your bris. But you scrambled out of the way just in time, and he looks at you and he just says, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." What do you do?
Well, I screamed Reginald.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to back away.
Okay. So, do you run away or crawl?
I'm still on my ass, so I'm crawling away.
Well, you can scramble. You can turn and run.
All right. I'm going to scramble for that. Is it a staircase going up or down?
In area 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, in area 8, that is one of those metal spiral staircases.
Right.
It's basically the servants' stairwell.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to try to get on the other side of it from where.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to scramble, bolt, and run. And Reginald and Chip, you guys see the judge running for his life as he runs and hides behind the metal staircase, the corkscrewing staircase that servants use.
I assume
we don't see what he's running from.
We don't see what he's running from?
Well, you heard that.
Oh, you heard the screaming, obviously. I'm going to kill you.
You heard the judge screaming.
Okay.
Did we hear the axe into the floor?
No.
Like, wait, Judge, where are you going?
And I'm like trying to make sure I'm staying on the other side of the metal. So if he goes that way, I go this way.
You don't see William.
What?
Reginald, William's here somewhere. He's got an axe.
Well, he should be making dinner, shouldn't he?
He's got a fucking axe. He swung it at me.
I would hope he'd be upstairs after eating.
It's amazing how many people argue with me when I tell them that
I'm looking around the corner.
He's got to be here in the room somewhere. He was in room 5. I mean, I wouldn't say room 5, but
I'm not going out in the open, but I am worried because he said there's a guy with an axe. So I am.
No, let's stick together. Let's all stick right close together. We'll go look in number 5.
Okay, so let's just take a look.
Let's just look. Come on, and don't knock my drink.
Can I see a place in the floor where the axe hit?
You go back to where you were sitting on the floor. The axe buried itself into the wood floor. There is not a mar. There's not a scratch.
Are you
fine.
Are you okay, Judge?
I don't know. Maybe I need to sit down.
This is the room that you thought you saw William in.
Yeah, we'll take a peek. We'll take a look in the room.
Was there? He turned around. He looked all disheveled. He had a fire axe.
Disheveled. We just saw him a few minutes ago.
He screamed at me. He came running at me with the axe. He swung it. I fell. He buried it in the floor. I scrambled away from him. This all happened a moment ago.
Judge, there's no mark in the floor.
I can see there's no fucking mark in the floor.
I look in the room a little more thoroughly that he's saying that he saw him in.
Yeah, go ahead. You guys can do spot hiddens if you want.
Spot hidden.
Maybe there's a secret passage, Judge.
I need to.
I think there's a secret passage, like in one of your mystery novels. Failure.
Everything seems fine in here. So while you guys are confused and kind of looking around in that bedroom, the camera moves as Claire and Ethan ascend the grand stairwell, the central grand stairwell in the home, and they ascend to the second floor.
Do I need to do a sanity roll?
Oh, yes, please do.
I failed.
You lose 1.
All right, 1. I lost 15.
So, Ethan and Claire, you guys come up to the second floor, and the grand staircase does continue on up to what would be the third floor. But you are here on the second floor, and Claire seems quite content to follow your lead, Ethan.
Okay. I would
and
say...
you've been feeling her trying to very subtly feel the muscles in your arm.
Yeah. I stop 3 or 4 steps up the stairs and look at her right in her eyes. Claire, is she carrying a purse?
She is not.
Claire, do you like guns, Claire?
And give me a psychology.
33. Oh, I don't have the luck.
She, a second, her other hand is now kind of holding your other arm, and she kind of gets closer to you, and she goes, "Do you like guns?"
I have one. I love them. They remind me of what's right and true, and also they protect me from people that could be leading me into harm's way.
So you could protect me from harm.
Or I could be led into a bad situation, which you should tell me about right now while you have the opportunity.
Oh, Ethan, honey.
Who is Elizabeth, Claire?
I don't know who Elizabeth is.
Do you have a purse?
Who is
perhaps?
Elizabeth?
How do I even know your name is Claire?
Sweetheart, you're just being paranoid. Come on, let's find Kenneth and get this party going, because the sooner dinner is done with, the sooner that we can retire.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you walk in front of me 2 paces and take me where we're going? Let's go look. I'll feel better, you'll feel better, and I can protect you much better that way.
And she says, okay. And she does have a very form-fitting dress. And the view is pretty good from back there, as she makes sure. As I will
tell her, yeah.
Yeah, she makes sure that the caboose is swinging pretty well.
Now, while she's doing that and we're going up the stairs, I will slide back on my 1911 that's on my breast holster, my service semi-automatic service gun, and take the safety off as we're going upstairs.
All right.
I mean, I find
bad stuff to happen to you in the war, huh?
Well, I think that he would not be as paranoid if not for the message. The message is which is driving his paranoia.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are on the second floor now. And so she pirouettes and has her hands up, and she says, "Where to now?"
Have you been up here before?
And she looks around and she says, "I've never been to this house before. Have you been here?"
No, this is a place I'm not familiar with. Well, let's go check the closest door, but first, and I'll yell out Connelly's name.
Okay. Yeah, you yell out for Kenneth, and she yells out for Kenneth, but there's no response.
Okay, after you, my dear, I'll open 2-3.
Okay. So you go over to 2-3, and it is a bedroom. And you can see that it's very well appointed. It is. It's got decorations in there that have like a forest scene. So there's some green and brown wallpapers. There's pictures that have a forest scene. There's knickknacks and whatnot. Maybe little figurines of animals and stuff like that. So this is the forest room. And so, Claire's looking around in here, and she's like, there's a wardrobe, there's a freestanding wardrobe, there's a bed, there's like a little table, a little dresser with a basin on it.
I'll step out of, I'm in the doorway. I'll step out 2 feet, 2 feet, and I will listen down the hallways around this door. I'm making sure that somebody doesn't come up behind me. I'm taking a good look around, and I'm listening.
So Claire's in the room, but you're standing in the hallway.
I've just opened the door for her like a gentleman would, and I'm standing in the entry breeze between the room and the hallway, and I'm listening like I would in the trenches.
All right, go ahead and give me a listen.
Of course, I only have a 10 listen for obvious reasons, so that's a fail.
All right. Go ahead and give me a spot hidden.
That much better. Missed.
Okay.
84 out of 60.
All right. Yeah. So she's in the room for a little bit and says, "Kenneth's not here. Should we try the next one?"
Can I do another psychology roll? I'm going to ask her a very specific question. Hey, Claire, when we go back downstairs, you're going to be able to show me a driver's license, right, with your name on it?
She says, "I don't drive."
Okay, how about an identification card to check anything that tells me what your name is?
Sure, honey.
Okay, I'm glad that we got that out of the way.
She says, "Me too." Now, come on. Where to next? Next door?
Yes.
All right. And so she steps up towards the door and waits for you to open it.
Do I hear anything?
Do you?
No.
Okay.
Open the door.
All right. You open the door, and she, nods. Thank you. And in this room, you can see, again, it's another bedroom. And it seems to be decorated in like a nautical scene. So there's all kinds of, sailing decor and wallpaper and paintings and stuff like that. But, much like any other bedroom, also it has the freestanding wardrobe, a dresser, a basin, a bed.
I'll say his name.
All right, you call out for Kenneth, and then she stops. She goes, "Kenneth!" And she calls out too, with no response.
Okay, I'll step into the hallway too as we go into the next room. Okay. And I'll say out loud, "I am armed with a 1911 45 ACP handgun, and whoever is perpetrating or harming my friend or playing a joke on me had better know that I'm very trigger happy. Come out now, and I'll give you the opportunity to live another day.
And no one comes out, and Claire says, she kind of gets close to you and she says, "That's pretty cool."
Go to the next room.
So when
I don't hear the judge. I don't hear any commotion, of course, because I failed my listen rolls.
It's a well-built house with lots of good insulation. Okay, so the next door. So you go to 2-5, and so she patiently waits at the door for you to open it.
Failed listen roll.
Okay.
What a surprise! Shocker.
What a surprise!
Yeah, and
shock upon shocks.
Yes, open the door.
Okay.
My pistol is out, by the way. Now I'm no longer concealing it.
Okay. Pistol's out, and she does look at you and kind of points the finger and says, "Now you do be careful with that.
Yes.
You don't want to hurt anybody.
Maybe I'll let you touch it later."
And then she, this coy smile spreads across her face. So you open the door to 2-5, and she goes in and starts looking around. Do you stay in the hall? Do you stay in the doorway?
Always staying in the hall, watching my back.
All right. So she goes into the room, and you can see that 2-5, again, another bedroom. And this one we're going to say is it's decorated in primary colors. And so you can see that it's got some warm yellows and oranges in this room, some real warm colors. So while she's in that room, you see movement out of the corner of your eye towards like at the right where like room 6 and 7 join in that corner. You see something moving towards there, and as you look, do you look? I assume you look.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
my head's on a swivel.
You're standing in the hallway right outside the door to 2-5, and so right over there towards the corner between 2-7 and 2-6, you look and you see something, and it looks like it's as big as a panther. But your eyes are having a hard time focusing on it as this creature that's like it's slowly moving and it's like moving at a stalking pace. But this creature, it looks like it's a collection of broken shards of glass that are sliding along each other, and you can hear the sound of glass sliding along glass. And this creature has 4 legs and a long tail and this squarish head. But, you try and look at it, but your vision can't focus on it as it keeps to continually like moving out of focus and refocusing in a different spot. And this squared head kind of turns and looks at you, and you can see that it's got these burning white eyes, and it opens up its mouth. And inside, a burning white light is emitting from its mouth, and it just has this growl, and it says, and there's like this blue mist smoke that's kind of cascading around this thing, and then it suddenly raises a paw. It kind of growled at you, then turned its head, and it raises a paw, and the paw, this arm of like shards of glass that are sliding along each other. This paw, it elongates and stretches, and it goes up into the corner of where the walls meet, and it begins funneling itself into this corner of the walls, and it just kind of, the bits of glass begin sliding faster and faster until this creature just evaporates into the corner of the wall, and then the blue mist just kind of it puffs and then it evaporates away. Give me a sand roll.
89. I think not.
Yeah, that's a fail. I believe your loss is roll a d20.
Oh, 11. Oof.
11 points of loss. Give me an idea roll, if you would, please.
This is the one we don't want to make.
Correct.
That is a 92 fail.
You fail. All right. So you have this unimaginable thing just kind of step past you, and it growled and hissed at you, and then evaporated into this corner. Give me a luck roll.
42. No, fail.
You drop your gun. And it goes off because you already had it, chambered and cocked, safety off. You had it prepped and ready to fire. Give me another luck roll.
69 is a fail.
What kind of damage does your gun do?
A lot. D10 plus 2. And I assume I'll be taking that in the foot.
Yeah, or the shin. So you'll take 4 points of damage as the bullet blasts through your calf muscle.
Ouch.
Can I do a first aid?
Well, you drop to the ground, and Claire comes running out and goes, "Oh my God, what's happened? What happened to you?"
Now we have to hear this. I mean, this is all happening in a hallway.
The neighbors heard that.
You guys heard the gunshot.
Of course.
He shot somebody.
I rush upstairs.
Okay.
It's got attacked by an axe, and this is still somehow my fault.
So you may attempt a first aid on yourself, but due to the just lightning bolts of pain going through you, it's going to be with a penalty die.
So we run upstairs.
And actually, you know what? Why don't we put a pause there? Because I think it's a better cliffhanger for you to have just been shot.
Yeah.
And we can pick it up next time.
Awesome. That description of that creature was probably one of the best descriptions in any game I've ever heard.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. I wanted
so good
to let
you shot yourself.
Yeah. I also wanted to just real quick, John. I watched your unboxing video.
Let's talk about that afterwards.
Yeah,
after. Okay.
Yeah. Our players included Matt Ryan, Phil Greeley, Jesse Aponte, and myself with John Hook as the Keeper of the Secrets. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a rich listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The cost involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.